Hello, everybody. It's Kristina Dennis, Transformational Self-Empowerment Master, and I am back in the swing of things. Just got done meeting with somebody, and I love doing that. But I recognized something that happened inside of me because I had to make some adjustments to make that happen. And one of them was, my walk had to be short on my treadmill, and I answered the door with half my makeup done. Well, I think I didn't have my mascara on it, and I had to compromise on things and lower, I don't want to say lower my standards, but adjust so that I could get everything I wanted to do done this morning. And now I am in that stuck rut, that stopgap of like, oh, how much do I get done? What do I have to do next? I have an appointment with my son's therapist supervisor here in a couple of hours, and I can tell you nothing about that is fun. It's a lot of mental work, and it's a lot of pain, and it's just talking about things that I don't really want to talk about. And so what I want to do is kind of chill out, and I'm arguing with myself about whether that's acceptable. And what that is leading me to want to talk about in this forum is the idea, and I just got done speaking about this with my guest that was over, was the idea that sometimes life feels like you're running a three-legged race. And also goes back to a TED Talk that I watched this morning that I have listened to a couple of times that talks about how warning labels don't necessarily work. In fact, they can almost deter us from heeding the warning, almost as a way to protect ourselves. And her example was that cigarette labels, a graphic label on a cigarette doesn't always. In fact, there's evidence to show that it absolutely does not produce what we want. That delayed gratification is much harder for people to understand. And she was a behavioral neuroscientist, and she was discussing the fact of having little victories and little measuring sticks and little reward systems for delaying something. So, for instance, if you had a child that smoked, rather than saying, don't smoke, it's going to kill you, which is 100 years away for, let's say, a teenager, that maybe a better approach would be, if you stop smoking, you will perform better in sports. And she also brought up this study that was done in a hospital where they installed cameras to track how many people wash their hands before and after. And even though all the staff knew that there were cameras, they only complied 10% of the time. And before you gross out, just think about that. Maybe somebody just washed their hands out in the hallway and they don't want to wash them when they walk in, or maybe they're going to go out to the hallway or wash them before they go into the next visit. I'm not sure, but when they did decide to start putting in a kind of a reward system where they compared themselves to other departments, where they tracked how many times they did it within the shift, within the week, within one department versus another department, compliance went from 10% to 90%. And so a watched pot never boils is not necessarily true, right? If you think about that. And when you're in a particular situation where these are self-imposed standards, these are things that, like, for instance, me going after the online course that I'm putting together, or moving forward in some of my wellness businesses. There really isn't a chart anywhere. And how do I take that information and learn to reward myself? How do I accept the fact that because I want really great big things, sometimes it's going to take a little bit longer? And how do I not get discouraged without having immediate results? And so I want to think about that today. I'll come into my epiphany. I know that, for me, it's the self-talk, it's taking the time to be quiet, it's putting in a reward system, and it's literally taking moment by moment. That are what will move me forward toward toward, I don't want to say my goal, but toward the lifestyle that I want to live, toward helping more people, toward developing the online course, toward actually putting other people's wellness in front of them, helping people, all the different things that I want to do. My son's progress is so much a reflection on what life is like in general. With special needs, with autism, it can be 2 steps forward, 4 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And it's really easy to get discouraged, like, because of all of the components of what developmental delays and moving forward in development do. And in my own personal life, I'm often faced with those same kinds of odds. It's hard to measure it. It's hard to understand exactly what I'm supposed to be doing on a daily basis. It's hard not to compare myself to others and yet set up a reward system. It's just a difficult thing when you're going after better than being numb, better than avoiding hard subjects, being more engaged. When materialism is no longer your measuring stick, and you've gotten to a place like myself where I realize that the more I buy, the more stuff I accumulate, the less it has an impact on me, or comparison on social media can only drive me crazy. Whatever it is, those rules that you have set as a child and a teenager, and even in college, or even in a corporate world where you're climbing a ladder and you're just getting that one next thing, they're not there anymore. And there's freedom, but there's also confusion on exactly how to enjoy that 3-legged race. And so I want to approach today with a self-loving attitude. I want to recognize the things that I did do already and the things that will still need to be done, like taking care of my son and getting him ready for school and on the bus in a safe manner, his skin addressed, his gut addressed, oiled up, ready to go, taking care of my body, fixing and cleaning my home, meeting with a client this morning, giving of myself, coming in here, doing this video and being vulnerable to the world. And then maybe it's okay, I take an 1.5-hour break before that 2:30 appointment with the supervisor shows up. I'm not sure, but I wanted to kind of just put that out there, that things feel really messy, and I don't have a really good sense of, okay, I've accomplished this, this, and this, so I feel good. I'm more just needing to have that self-acceptance and self-love and honesty. And so I'm a little messy today. And I'm sure there are others, hi Tracy, that feel that way about their life on a daily basis. And I guess if we're just really honest about it and we continue to come up and be authentic, then we can do good in this world, because we can connect and we can quit upholding unobtainable standards for ourselves and for others. So self-acceptance, in the big books of Alcoholics Anonymous, there's a famous story that says acceptance is the answer to all of my problems. And I think that is true. And so I'm going to work on that today, accepting that this is where it's going. And if I don't do anything for the next 2 hours until that person shows up, I'm okay. And I hope that you'll take that on and realize that you're okay too. Love you all.